Okay, good morning, everybody. Today we have a marginal severe threat from southwestern New York into now eastern Arkansas, pending new updates from the models, which I will show you very quickly soon. No severe threat is anticipated tomorrow, and then for Tuesday, a marginal threat here in Montana, and then again into northeastern Iowa, southeastern Minnesota, into southern and central Wisconsin. Although, before I'm about to show you the models, I certainly think they'll shift it more to the north and possibly even make an upgrade to slight risk. So, now to quick head on over to the models. So, we'll jump straight on over to the NAM here. Okay, so by 1 p.m., you can see strong convection developing into central and eastern Arkansas and up into western Tennessee. Then more development here, although the peak actual development won't come until 2 p.m. for these regions. But then by 4 p.m., you can see strong convection stretching all the way again down into here. Now, these will be fairly slow-moving storms, so where do they do go, there could be some minor flooding risk, but for today, the main threat is expected to be just some isolated pockets of damaging winds to about 60-65 miles per hour. So not the absolute strongest to occur, but can still cause some tree and power line damage. So expect sporadic tree and power line damage and sporadic power outages. And then by 7 p.m., you can see 7 to 10 p.m., the activities start to wane before they finally die off. Then, again, tomorrow, nothing expected other than scarce thunderstorms here. A couple over here may contain some gusty winds over 40 miles per hour, but others at least not expecting anything severe. But then it will be Tuesday, or by 1 p.m., you can see some development occurring in northern Minnesota, but then will be this area that will be mainly focusing on, because see, by 4 p.m., you can see a organized line of strong to severe storms stretching from far eastern Minnesota up into west central upper Michigan. Now, these storms for Tuesday will be capable of producing gust fronts, which will mean that you'll see strong to damaging wind gusts of up to 60 to 65 miles per hour ahead and right along the storm and right along the leading edge of the rain. And then 7 p.m. you can see it pretty much reaches its peak, and then by 10 p.m. it starts dying off. Then there's 1 a.m. and then 4 a.m. So could see it some continuation to lower Michigan, but would anticipate only very isolated pockets of 40 to 50 mile per hour wind gusts at that point. So what you're going to have for Tuesday will be a moderately unstable atmosphere with capable of up to 2,500 joules per kilogram in spots and wind shear to mainly 30 to 40 knots. So that will sustain these storms for some time and will definitely lead to a risk of damaging winds. Now, could be embedded supercellular too that could produce some larger hail as well to quarter size, but no tornado threat for Tuesday. Then for Montana, as you can see, peak activity would be right around 7 p.m. where you see scared strong to severe convection, but then those die out pretty quickly. So I'm not expecting too much over there. And then for Wednesday, now, depending on how things evolve, we could see a greater threat of severe weather that could occur. So, for one, the instability will be noticeably much stronger than Tuesday and will be mainly warm front dominant. So, you will see a higher threat of damaging winds. Damaging winds. You'll see a higher threat for some supercells and quite a lot of bulk shear, up to 45 knots in spots. So if any supercells to develop, they will be very long lasting. And Ulysses values are high, so certainly you could see a strong tornado or two should a again a supercell develop and again high EHI values. Now, however, the main limiting factor is going to be a lot of cap. As you can see over here, so it's not the strongest, but what that means is that there will be just enough that only storms with the strongest updrafts will be able to survive. Now will be those ones though where you would have to certainly keep an eye on them. But yeah, otherwise your most widespread activity would be into western and central South Dakota. Now over there it'll be much less unstable. Maybe a couple of the northernmost storms making contact with this strong instability. And then again colliding with some of that wind shear. So Wednesday is pretty questionable. We're gonna have to see about it. But then again, moving into Minnesota by 60, but by then, so you can see, there's just not enough instability to really make anything out of it unless you have some storms making into here, but by then they'll be a lot weaker. So, could see a severe threat on Wednesday, even if this setup just a more marginalized threat, just because the coverage would be very isolated. But things do turn out in the worst case scenario, then we could definitely see a tornado threat. So Wednesday we'll keep a very careful eye on in the next coming days. And now to show you this hurricane potential. So as you can see with this new 6Z run, the GFS doesn't even develop a hurricane. Unlike the 00Z run where it did develop one, moving straight through the Florida peninsula here, and then going straight up into here, possibly as a category 1 over here. So I'm going to show you the GFS and symbols. So as you can see, some of them show it coming as early as July 5th. And then going right, this one has it colliding right into North Dakota, possibly as a category 1 hurricane. But then as you can see, if the other mouse, they just dismiss it, or that this one, which does show a tropical depression forming up into there, to possibly turn into a tropical storm before making landfall. And then, so you can already tell significant timing differences, but also differences in track and intensity. But most do introduce it by July 11th into July 12th. So as you can see, this one here has it hanging out in the Gulf of Mexico by Texas, just going back and forth until finally making landfall in Louisiana. So it would make landfall in Louisiana, according to this route, go right, and then make a sharp southwesterly turn, possibly clip the shores of southeast Texas before just staying there, pretty much. And then the rest of the miles either take it way up into, possibly into Maine, or they take it way down to here. So in regards to this hurricane potential, I pretty much cannot even make a call on it, other than to advise that, okay, eastern seaboard into Texas, you may want to watch this, but it's just way too early to really say anything in regards to where it could hit or how intense it could be. So I'll leave it at that for now. Again, the coming days I'll update more and more on this possibility. So